This episode we got the death of Christopher Maltasanti, but for me, it was just another nail in the coffin for the death of the Sopranos. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. Not many episodes left to go now. We say goodbye to Chris, who is undoubtedly one of the biggest characters in the Sopranos. I think you could make a good case for this guy being the second biggest character in the entire series. He gets snuffed out in like the first 5 minutes of the episode, and then it proceeds literally just to be glossed over. His death is literally forgotten about. It's moved on. There's barely any like consequences or reaction or nothing really happened after his death, and Tony just begins to go and party and gamble, and yeah, his luck's changed a little bit now that Chris is gone. But I mean, Jesus Christ, you talk about a lackluster follow up to the second biggest death this show could do.
Yeah, you know what? I watched it 5 years ago for the first time, and here's the second time. I don't feel any different. Honestly, I say almost. I think it does. It actually ruined the show for me the first time round. I can't believe that he just died like this. And the fanboys will great, right? You don't understand it. You don't know. Oh, not every death needs to be cinematic, right? Well, you know what? I'm actually going to fucking disagree with that. You want to know why? I think the biggest death in the show should be at least partially cinematic. He doesn't need to go out in a blaze of glory, right? And Chris going out because he couldn't pass a drug test, so Tony holds his nose. I see how that's poetic, a bit ironic, right? But I can't help but feel this death is awful, and it is so uneventful and lackluster. It kind of just sums up this show, right? And I think the theme of The Sopranos is lackluster, where you think you're always going to get something, and then it always gets cooled off. You look at Jackie Aprile, Junior and Senior. You look at Richie Aprile. You look at the way Ralph even gets killed, right? Even the way Tony B gets killed. How many people get killed in this show, and you can actually turn around and say, you know what? That was a satisfying end to their character.
None. I feel like every single death, you expect there to be at least a few more scenes on the table.
Yeah.
I think when Tony B died, I mean, I was expecting one more confrontation.
And Tony just shot him, right? But honestly, I think this is the worst. I've watched a lot of TV. I mean, is it the worst death, right? Ever? No, I mean, obviously there's been worse deaths in terms of like the scene looks shite. There's something off with it. The story doesn't make sense. But see, in terms of lackluster, this is the worst death for me I've ever seen.
The show itself, it doesn't feel episodic to me either. It doesn't feel like there's a continuation. A lot of it just feels like, you know, the way in, like, I don't know, for example, Simpsons, you don't have to watch The Simpsons. You can just like pick and choose which episode you want to watch, or things like South Park, you know, where it's not like episodic, where it's like a continuation.
Yep.
Where here, you can't watch episode 2 without watching episode 1. See, with The Sopranos, like, I genuinely feel that, you know, once you watch the first couple of episodes of season 1 and you kind of get a feel for what the show is like, I think you can just pick and choose what you want to watch. But I at least feel that in the earlier seasons, I felt like there was a bit more continuation from episode to episode. But now everything just feels more like, I don't know, like sporadic or something. It's almost like here, if you don't want to watch it this week, you don't have to. You're not really going to miss anything. There seems to be like no major overarching stories. It's just like, oh, well, this episode they're going to do this, and in the next episode they're going to do that, and it seems to be like one and done. Seems to be like, oh, here we'll do this, and that's that done, and then we're over. So, I don't know. It's just. I mean, you look at Breaking Bad, and it's like Breaking Bad. You had to watch. You couldn't just skip an episode of Breaking Bad. And that's the way it should be. It's like you feel like every episode in Breaking Bad was continuing the main story.
Yep.
And yeah, you would get your wee side plots and side missions and side stories, but you did feel like the main story with Walter was progressing every single episode. I mean, I don't even know what the main story with Tony is in season 6.
Every day is precious, and then it kind of goes out the. Or yeah, see the whole Christopher thing, right? I don't care how much you're a fanboy you are. I think you will struggle to find someone on planet Earth that actually thought this death's good, because it ain't. You know, see this death, right? This is never going to rank in a top 10 list of deaths in TV shows, or fuck, I'd argue even in this show, it's not even going to rank in the top 10. It's just so uneventful.
It was the follow-up that did it for me more.
Yeah, I agree, right? Spoiler alert, right? No one actually finds out Tony ever killed him, because why would they? Like, there's like literally no proof or whatever. But it's like, there's not even that element. The rest of the episode, Tony goes to Vegas, sleeps with Chris's ex Gumarfi years ago. Who cares? You know what I mean? Is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be? Oh, that makes Tony even more of an evil bastard. What he slept with some stripper that Chris slept with like 10 years ago,
and that 100 guys have slept with.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's like, to me, nothing Tony does after holding his nose and killing his nephew
It's worse.
It's going to be worse than actually killing him himself. I thought the episode sucked. He kills Chris. They have the 2 wakes. Polly's auntie died, even though she's kind of his mum, but she's kind of not. He's pissed off that not enough people...
He's upset that more people went to Chris's wake. A made man.
Yeah, what's he expect?
You know what I mean?
And also, he kind of cut all ties with her earlier this season, so maybe people thought that and went, well, hold on here. Well, if he's cut ties, why should I go to that?
Even when Chris has died, though, Polly's doing his signature here. Oh, this happened to me once, and I survived this and all this. I mean, Polly makes everything about himself, but speaking of Polly and made men, where the hell's Sil? This episode, like, pretty much non-existent. And that, you know what I mean? You've got Christopher's death. Sil is supposed to be the number 2 behind Tony, and literally nothing happens. Like, nothing happens with him.
Yeah, he was in the scene where... Also, I think the scene where Carmela finds out the gasp. Oh! It's like, you never give 2 fucks about Chris, right?
Yeah, if you look at Sons of Anarchy, look at how the members react when an important person dies.
Yeah. Or no, fucking any other... No.
Chris got the West treatment.
Yeah, no, he did, but look at Carmela on the phone when Tony tells her, "Oh, you're sitting down," and she gasps. Have you ever got the inkling in this show that Carmela cares about Chris?
No, I thought she never liked him, to be honest.
Always says you're a junkie. Oh, you must have did this to Adriana. You did that, and then Tony's like, "But I thought there was a wee bit of, thought you were a bit of gladness in your voice there that I thought you was dating." And Tony throughout the whole episode's justifying it. Oh, the baby seat got squished. The baby seat got squished. Just tragic state of affairs, man. There's no way I can spin this episode of this death. For me, it fucking ruins the show. I'll actually stand by that. It does. Like, this show is very stop-start, as we pointed out, with the lack of episodic episodes. And you know what? I do like this show. I think there's parts of it I love, there's parts of it I hate, but I feel like this... You're right, you said at the start, I think this is the final nail in the coffin, man. It's like... You've got this character, right, who is a useless junkie, right, and I totally understand that, and once a junkie, always a junkie, right. Tony's finally realised he's useless and he's killed him, justified or not, we'll get to in a minute. But see, in my opinion, see if Chris is going to go it this way, you could have did it fucking seasons ago. Why 4 episodes for the end? You know what I mean? Tony knew he was useless. Like, Tony realistically knew this guy was useless seasons ago. Tony just didn't wake up on episode 18 and go, fuck, I'm going to kill this guy. And also, what is with the gimmick with Tony, right, and how forced it feels in the last, like, 5 episodes, right, where he starts on Bobby, right, then, from out the blue, wants to kill Polly, then basically refuses to pay Hesh back properly, right, and now he kills Chris. When we've seen episodes before, how he was willing to, like, almost go to war with New York to defend Fetal. What's happened since then? To me, that's a writing flaw. How's this guy completely did a 180 in a couple of episodes between wanting to spare Fetal and then wanting to kill half his crew and associates?
Maybe he looks at the money and he's thinking, these guys aren't bringing in the money Fetal did. These guys are useless. They're not good to me, kind of deal. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But anyway, yeah, Tony goes and meets Chris's Gumar and they get high and they go
Are we supposed to care about this? And he wins. He bets on 24. He's like, he's dead. I'm winning. Then the sun sets. Honestly, he's like, I get it. And then the episode ends.
See James Gandolfini, he must have had a blast filming this show. Look at the amount of hot women that he's had sex scenes with. The actor must have been having the fucking time of his life.
I get it.
You know, it's like, what the hell? I mean, The guy obviously got money, like, but it's like every time he finds himself with fucking a woman that's like half his age.
Yeah, and it's like, why does she even care about Tony? I mean, yeah, he's getting money, but it's like it almost feels forced how many fucking relations. Well,
The
not
women
really.
just throw themselves at, and I don't get it. I mean, yeah, the guy has money, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, like
No, but this show,
he's
but no,
47. He's fat and out of shape.
but this show portrays Tony like the ultimate ladies man.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yo, is he like an alpha male? Yeah, yeah. Is he top man of his crew? Yeah. But let's not pretend that like 95% of the women are all glued up and know that Tony's running things in Jersey. Of course they don't fucking know that. It just feels forced. And Tony's, this whole like on it. I think him killing Chris feels so
No, but
forced.
seeing you watch Sons of Anarchy, and the women are throwing themselves at Jax. I can see why.
You don't get it with yeah. You
I
don't
just
get
don't
it.
really fucking get it. But Tony's got more money than Jax. Well, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, but also like with Chris, he is younger than Tony, and he doesn't look like a fat slob.
Yeah, and I'm sure Andy's fucking better looking than Tony. I mean, he managed to attract Adriana. Enough said. Anyway, I don't know. It's just strange. I just don't. I get it, that lifestyle, but it's not the amount of women that Tony gets that bothers me. I just think it's weird how it's the women that always seem to be throwing themselves at Tony. Do you know what I think? That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It just doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah, but it's like the last 20 minutes of this episode is him with this woman doing drugs, gambling, and then falling to his knees in front of a sunset. I just think it's trash, man. I do. And the fanboys will be like, you don't get the meaning yet. Well, I do get the meaning yet. Chris is dead. It's a burden off his shoulders. His luck's changing. He finally found an opportunity to kill him. But in terms of good television, I think it's fucking garbage, man. Honestly, look at the state of this. See, back in season 5 when like Tony found out, or Chris found out that Tony and Adriana were in the car crash, and then Tony had him on his knees and he was about to kill him. That would have been better. See this dragging Chris out along to this, man. I just don't get it. It took me completely out of it, and it is one of the worst TV deaths you'll ever see.
Yeah, not great.
No, name me a TV show though, right? Off the top of your head, of a massive character whose death was as lackluster as this.
Can't.
Like honestly, I am trying to think, and it's like it was surprising, but it was weird. It was surprising, but it was like awfully dragged out. Like, see, once they crashed and Tony kind of gets out unscathed, and you see Chris, you're like, well, this is fucking all over. You know what I mean? It's such a shit death, man.
Yeah, shit deaths like this would be reserved for people that, aren't really big game players or minor characters. And like we said, Chris is like arguably the second biggest character of this show.
Yeah, like, see if he killed Carlo like this, right? Or somebody else in the crew of that level, of like a patsy. Yeah, I'll accept it. But this is the biggest character death this show has done. And this is it. Anyway, it ruined it for me. And yeah, not much has changed in 5 years. I don't think when I watch this for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or the 67th time, I'm going to change my opinion on this. So, what are you giving it?
To me, The Sopranos feels like a one and done show for me. Like, it does.
Yeah.
Because I think the pacing's all wrong. Like, I mean, I think it's the kind of show where you could go back and you could pick and choose which episode you want to watch. But in terms of rewatching it from episode 1, season 1 to the finale, I don't know.
No, but see once Tony kills him, right, and we see like Carmela's reaction and everyone's, and you see his funeral. What is actually the point of watching the next 20 minutes of the episode? Well, so Tony can gamble and win, and then be like, oh, my luck's changed because he's dead. It's a waste of 20 minutes. You're right. See, on a second rewatch or a third, why would you watch this episode out with his actual death? I would say about 75% of this episode skippable.
Yeah.
Just name me another TV show where they have a massive character death like this in the episode is skippable. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's not even like his death happened at the end.
Yeah, it happened right at the beginning. I mean, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. maybe generous. I don't know.
I'll give it a 4. You also had stuff with Tony in New York and asbestos, and also AJ and his friends beat up some guy from Somalia. And then he
called him the M word.
Yeah, he was a bit depressed about it, and he started greeting. So who knows how that's going to go?
Don't be an arsehole then.
I know.
No, I was sympathetic towards him a few episodes ago, but now he's just acting like a dick.
And then greeting about it. Didn't tell a psychiatrist what he did, didn't he not?
Nope.
He did not. Anyway, 4.5 out of 10. Till next time. Peace.